You know, it would seem to me that few settings could be worse suited for submitting an AI generated text than a court of law. Everything you say is due and subject to the maximum scrutiny. Now, you may get away with it with Mrs. Martin's English class. You might. Or some freshman level paper that you write in community college. But in a court of law, where you have an opposition and a judge is going to check your work, you choose to use AI. Oh my gosh. And people, lawyers continue to get caught relying on this ridiculous, what some would say, crappy, hallucinogenic prone AI models. I have, I do a lot of playing around with Claude AI and Chat GTP, like a lot of people, and find that it'll come up with some stuff because of the model it uses. And if you challenge it, it will back down. So my biggest fear has been, and I have put videos out before that if people just use Chat GPT or GPT, there you go, or Claude AI or whatever else they use, people will think it's kind of like Google, where you ask it a question, it gives you the answer, and of course that answer is correct. Although they all have a disclaimer on the bottom that says, sometimes I'm wrong. Sometimes I'm a dumbass. I don't know what I'm talking about. Why in the world would you use these AI bots when, first of all, people's money is on the line, maybe even their freedom is on the line, when all the things that you're looking for are over here in these books that you should know about if you are an attorney? It's absolutely mind-blowing. But the latest case that we that I found out about uh, uh, is a case that involves some or a law firm that's really big here in the state of Florida. A couple of Thursdays ago, a federal judge in Wyoming asked the plaintiff's lawyers to give him a good reason not to impose sanctions on them for citing nine, wait, nine, nine, nine totally made up legal cases in a lawsuit. And of course, they cited some, we have a really bad AI model. Well, these lawyers are for the firm Morgan and Morgan and Goody Law Group. They withdrew the filings that contained the botched case law and ate a humble pie in a follow-up law firm. Morgan and Morgan advertises as being the world's largest PI firm, and they may be. I don't know. They say they are. They probably are. They probably have thousands of attorneys, right? What they said was our internal artificial intelligence platform hallucinated. It was taking an acid trip. It hallucinated the cases in question while assisting our attorneys in drafting the motion. In Limine, I guess they wrote for the Register. This matter comes with great embarrassment and has prompted discussion and action regarding the training, implementation, and future use of all artificial intelligence within our firm. This is the comment from Morgan and Morgan. Now, what I don't want to do is run afoul of John Morgan and his group on YouTube. I do not. I do not. So I am mentioning them in this because this is important as we start to transition into this continued use of AI to gather information. To gather information. Somehow, if these large language models can come up with a confident answer, if they can't, they'll just make one up, usually pretty convincingly. What you'll find out is that if you ask it a question, it'll always come with an answer. It'll hardly ever say, "Yeah, I don't know. Nah, it beats me. Couldn't find anything about it." This can be very dangerous. So in this case, the defendants found that when they tried to look up some of the lawsuits that were being cited, they couldn't find them. They couldn't. It can be found under the names provided. At least one of them case was fabricated by Chat GPT, which can only be found on the chatbot. And as it turned out, the provided case number for the fabrication actually belonged to a real lawsuit. Score one, and some for the corporate lawyers. This is why this is a problem, because a lot of people are using these chatbots and taking the information that they vomit out as truth. And they think, and people think, especially young folks, that you've used Chat GTP and you've used Claude AI or whatever you use, and somehow you have done your work. You used artificial intelligence and the thing that spit out, you have done your work. Okay. If you read the Cliff Notes for Hamlet, you haven't read Hamlet. You haven't. If all you've read was the Cliff Notes to the Odyssey and the Iliad, you have not read the Odyssey and the Iliad. You haven't. You read the Cliff Notes. So at the very, very best, you might have an introduction, and maybe some things can be explained or are a little easier to grasp when you go to the source material. That's the best you can hope for. And that may not be a bad idea. And it may not be a bad idea. Or if you go to Claude AI or Chat GPT and say, give me a summary of 12 Angry Men. And it gives you a summary of 12 Angry Men. You read the summary, and then you read 12 Angry Men. Now, 12 Angry Men, because of the summary, might open up to you in ways that you hadn't considered before, under the best circumstances. But if you just read the summary, you haven't read 12 Angry Men. So using these AI models as ways to gather information up is not a good thing. It's absolutely amazing that a major law firm has lawyers that got sucked in. Now, I don't know who these lawyers are. I'm not going to call them DEI hires. I'm not going to. I am going to call them lazy and problematic for the law firm, because earlier this month they talked to over 1,000 lawyers. The email warns at length about the tech's proclivity for hallucinating. But the pros of the tech apparently still outweigh the cons. Rather than banning it, something that plenty of organizations have done, Morgan & Morgan, their leadership decided to take sort of the middle road and give the usual spiel about, please double check this work to ensure it's not totally made up nonsense. And I get it, because what's going to happen, the technology is going to improve. Why? How do you know this? Because all technology improves. You remember microwaves? The first time you put some microwave popcorn in a microwave and you press the microwave button, and suddenly it was a blaze in there, and the whole office smelled like burned popcorn. You remember? That hardly happens anymore because the technology has improved. The technology of the microwave popcorn bag and the microwave, both those technologies have improved because that's something that we wanted. We want microwave popcorn. We want to be able to research case law quickly and efficiently. And AI models offer or will offer this in a way that can be used eventually, just not right now. They wrote to their lawyers, as we previously instructed you, if you use AI to identify cases for citation, every case must be independently verified. That means that if you find one, you better damn well go and find out that this actually is true and connected to the thing that you say it is. Why? Because the integrity of your legal work and your reputation and your job. They didn't say this, I'm saying this, and your job and your license depend on it. When lawyers are caught using Chat GPT or other generative AI tools to create citations without checking them, that's that's incompetence. It's just pure and simple. Andrew Perlman, dean of Suffolk County's law school, and an advocate for using AI in legal work, told Reuters. Now, this Andrew Perlman says, you know what? If you don't check it, that's just incompetence. It's just lazy. Just lazy. And he's an advocate for using AI in legal work because this is this huge database that you have access to, and you can get information very quickly and move things along pretty quick, as opposed to saying that we're still working on it and we're building case we're building hours while you pour through the volumes, which is how they used to do it. And whenever they poured through the volumes of books, case law, the clock was ticking, the register was ringing. And now maybe we can all have access to this case law. And maybe this could be a good thing for everybody. But right now, not ready for prime time. Now, how this is going to affect Morgan and Morgan, and there are thousands of lawyers here in Florida and around the country, around the world, probably. I don't know. Are they going to be sanctioned for this? I don't think so. I don't think so. Should they? Yeah, maybe. Why? As a warning to everybody else. It's the shrunken head on the stick. The last people who didn't do this, this is what happened to them, right? So, in closing, it's not just that the hallucinations are so pernicious, it's how authoritatively the A models lie to us. That and the fact that anything that promises to automate a task more often than not tends to induce the person using it to let their guard down. This happened with Google, right? If we didn't know something, we just asked Google. And whatever the top thing was on Google, we just took it. See, that's the truth. We took the noun Google and turned it into a verb. And whatever it said, we were good with it. We didn't scroll down to the second, third, fourth, fifth, 15th, 50th page to get a full understanding. Or find something that might have been contrary to what we found in the first three things. And now on Google, there is an AI summation to answer your question. So a lot of us, a lot of y'all, don't get past that. Why? Because you're lazy. You're intellectually lazy. I wish there was some other way to say it. that was softer and gentler, but there isn't. So to address this issue, Morgan & Morgan are requiring attorneys to acknowledge that they're aware of the risk associated with AI usage by clicking a little box added to its AI tool. Yeah, I know I'm using AI. Click. I don't know if this is going to make a difference, but what I'm pretty sure of is that attorneys who work for them are going to be a lot more careful, because what they don't want to lose is their job. What they don't want to lose is their law license. And maybe this will have a positive effect. What do you think? Write down what you think in the comments. Till we see you again, my name is William Lawson. This is Morning Report. The Morning Report is a production of fightbackmedia.com, 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 and fightbackmediatv.com. Till we see you again, peace.
Welcome to the Morning Report, a production of fightbackmedia.com, the #1 source of urban conservative information in America.